I think the silence is a bit deafening in terms of the lack of Bitcoin-focused appointees.
Government is a big, sprawling, funny thing, and there's a lot, of course, about that Doge is speaking to.
Czars an advisor to the president. They don't really have executive authority. Right? They really care about high-performance computing, AI, Bitcoin mining. Right?
Welcome to the Crypto Swamp Creatures, the show you never knew you needed and still don't want anyways. I'm Christopher Alexander, your blockchain and advocacy communications expert.
And I'm Justin Wallin, your guide through the often murky world of politics and polling.
Every week, we dive into the intersection of crypto, policy, and politics without taking sides. We're here to give you the straight, data-driven analysis that influences the decisions of those who want to win or want to be elected.
Think of it as a late 80s newscast, but with a twist. We bring you the serious stuff, but with a dash of sardonic wit and just a hint of irreverence.
So whether you're a crypto enthusiast, a policy wonk, or just someone who appreciates a data-driven approach, this is your place.
We bring you both sides, weigh the impact on crypto, and then we share what we use for show prep every week on our medium.
So remember, no one is as smart as someone who agrees with you. And now get ready to enter the no swamp zone.
Welcome to the Crypto Swamp Creatures. Justin Wallin and I here. We're your Bitcoin crypto podcasting czars. And so, Justin, there's a lot of czaring going on these days. And as you and I dug into it, it turns out that the one defining characteristic of a U.S. government czar is their lack of authority and power. We figured it was something that began maybe in the Clinton years or the first Bush years. It turns out that it actually started with Roosevelt in World War II or prior to World War II. But it really had its heyday under the younger Bush and Obama days. Like it went from 13 being the all-time high for 50 years to 33 under, I think, Bush and 38 under Obama. So what do you think of these czars, and how much of this is show, and how much of this is kind of a coordinating authority for the executive branch? And what does that mean for Bitcoin and crypto?
Well, it was illuminating as we started to dig into it a little bit because the name is so fantastic, right? But given the originations of it and the proximity to the deposal of the former czar, it's perhaps not surprising that the actual power is not absolute, as one would think by this magnificent name of total authority. But once you understand that, then the question is it really just is it just a nod? Is it just a ceremonial figure or a gift, really, to someone who you're not willing to give an ambassadorship to, and you're not really willing to have chair a particular, be a political appointment and chair a particular department, but you still find them valuable and need to show love? It's not that, and you discussed this a little bit earlier, and I'd love to hear a little bit more about it. The importance of coordination, and government is a big, sprawling, funny thing, and there's a lot, of course, about that Doge is speaking to, but it's big and sprawling for a lot of reasons. And yes, there's a lot of reasons to simplify it, but in the meantime, you have to deal within the reality that you are faced, and the reality is it is big, it is complex, and that coordination component and the tools that the czar has, they seem to be pretty effective. And there actually seems to be something that is, I think, a positive effect or potential positive effect, given the role that this will take, certainly in the AI and crypto space. So I want to hear a little bit more about how that actually works to the degree that, neither of us are experts on this, but I think you have a better take on that than I do.
Yeah, from my time in government, this was a big part of what we did at the core level and above in my job. And it's kind of synchronized coordinating and deconflicting, which is far more valuable than you might realize in government. So in of course, talking specifically about our AI and crypto czar, David Sachs, who is also on one of the advisory councils, the head of it. So he's actually dual-hatted, which kind of shows that he's a czar with a little more teeth. But the czar is an advisor to the president. They don't really have executive authority very often, if ever. Usually you're an appointee for that and confirmed by the Senate. Sachs will not be confirmed by the Senate. So what he does do, though, is something we used to say in the Army, which is I can't make you do anything, but I can make you wish you had. And that's really what a czar can do. And that is pretty clearly, I think, what Sachs is going to be able to do. So yeah, you can blow him off. You can not show up to coordinating meetings and other things if you so desire. But he's in the executive branch, and you're eventually going to get a call from Trump. You're going to get nasty grams from the chief of staff, and then all of a sudden, the things you want aren't going to happen.
Because he or she is a direct report to the president, right?
Yeah. So it's very much a hey guys, like, how can we work together? And the other role I think that Sachs is going to play that's extremely important is he's going to be one of, and there are many that are being established by this administration, but kind of a conduit from industry to the administration. So obviously the biggest critique of the Biden administration for crypto has been the lack of clear rules and a clear framework. The SEC is going to work on that, but there are a lot of other regulatory issues. And so I think, kind of summing it all up, what to me is most interesting is the administration's kind of laid out its tech priorities, right? They really care about high performance computing, AI, Bitcoin mining, right? Those are two sides of, no pun intended, the same coin. They also appointed a big, we'll talk about this in another segment, nuke fan into this mix. So you've got AI, you've got cryptocurrency, and you've got nuclear power. So it sounds like you're addressing at least energy, if not the grid infrastructure in this country declining. You're concerned about AI and the race we have with China for dominance there, and cryptocurrencies. But you'll notice, Justin, I keep saying cryptocurrencies because we discovered one other really interesting kind of data point as we went through people's backgrounds. There's not a single Bitcoin miner or Bitcoin maxi to be found. Virtually everybody owns some Bitcoin. And of course, Bitcoin is going to benefit as a form of cryptocurrency. But I think the silence is a bit deafening in terms of the lack of Bitcoin focused appointees.
It does seem odd, right? I mean, it's one thing to hold it. It's just kind of it's an assumption that if you are involved in crypto in any way, shape, or form, you're going to hold some degree of Bitcoin. But to have the true believers, the proselytizers, as you call them, the Bitcoin maxis, not have someone of that stature be within this. Because you mentioned this earlier, there are a lot of heads around the table at this point, which is a terrific thing. The structure is being built. It's going to be able to function immediately upon swearing in, which is part of it. Yes, there are political appointees, and that takes a little bit longer. But the actual structures, these things are being built now, and they can move forward. They don't require appointment, right? These folks are part of the bureaucratic part of government. They can move forward. But to not have someone of that particular perspective, it seems like an oversight of fairly significant proportions, right?
Yeah, I think it's deliberate. I think it's an oversight. Now, keep in mind.
Tell me about that. What makes you think that?
Well, we do have to remember, I mean, Trump threw a major bone, and a number of his appointees and a number of already elected members of the House and Senate have been all in on a strategic Bitcoin reserve. So he's thrown a major bone to the Bitcoin maxis by any measure. And he wants to make that happen. But that's like a legislative political battle. And so he's all in on the House, the Senate, and to some extent some of the regulatory bodies helping make the strategic Bitcoin reserve a reality. But when it comes to the future and what he wants to focus on as evidenced by his appointees, he's more into high performance computing, AI, and crypto. I think, and the energy that powers it. So don't get me wrong, it's not anti-Bitcoin. None of this is anti-Bitcoin by any measure, because anything that benefits crypto almost invariably benefits Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is, the Coca-Cola of cryptocurrency. But if I was a Bitcoin maxi and I gave money, I'd probably be a little bit miffed right now at how things are going if I was looking carefully.
Sure. No, it makes perfect sense. It is the window of opportunity for that space is rapidly closing. So it's going to be those that are maxis are going to have to rely heavily upon influencing folks who are in those coordinating positions, I suspect. They're not going to have a direct conduit to an absolute like-minded individual.
And remember, you've got a lot of these kind of anarcho-libertarians and that crowd. So it's going to be an interesting time. It's going to be positive for Bitcoin. It's going to be interesting for Bitcoiners. And of course, I'll be at a couple of events over the next month or two, likely annoying people by pointing these things out. But it's going to be interesting to see what some of the hardcore kind of OG folks, the ones who talk about their Bitcoins as plural, what they think about it. So we'll see. But is everything going on great for Bitcoin? Yes. Is it maybe even better for crypto? Absolutely. And it's going to be a fascinating year.
Yeah. The big takeaway is this is industry focused, not necessarily Bitcoin focused. So it's very, very good for the industry, very good by proxy to the Bitcoin, but it doesn't have that very specific focus.
That's it. Well, we'll talk about some other issues here in some more segments.
And that's all for this week on the Crypto Swamp Creatures.
We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the intersection of crypto, politics, and policy.
Remember, the data doesn't lie, and neither do we. Well, not about anything important anyways.
Until next time, stay informed, stay skeptical, stay out of the swamp.